channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Hopefully this video is not going to be an hour long. I know there'll be a lot of talking, so make sure to go and get a drink while you watch. And if you didn't see last week's video of the time-lapse of me colouring this mermaid, make sure to either go and check it out at the end or pause this and go and watch it now. So yeah, there'll be a lot of talking, but I'll let you in on all my colouring secrets, and they won't just apply to this page. I use these principles that I'll talk about in almost all of my colouring pages, so I think it'll be a really good video for you guys, really helpful. And if you find it helpful, make sure to give it a like and share it with your colouring friends. So the first thing I'll talk about is what inspired me to colour this page. So I was on Instagram and I found this picture of a mermaid by Finfolk Productions, a page that I follow. You should go and check them out. I'll leave a link in the description box below. They have lots of pictures of mermaids and they use the most amazing colours. So yeah, they're really cool. So it inspired me to do a pinky purpley mermaid tail, and so the first thing I'll talk about is how to pick your colours. So you could think, oh, I want to do a pinky purpley mermaid tail, cool, I'll pick one colour and there we go, I'll colour the whole tail in that colour, which is fine, but what I like to do is pick at least 3 different colours, a dark colour for the shadow, a base colour for the main body of the thing I'm colouring, and then a highlight colour, which sometimes the highlight colour might just be white or slightly off-white. So by picking 3 colours you can create a really nice dimension to the page. It looks like what you're colouring isn't flat, it looks like it could actually be a real object there. So my second colouring tip is, when you're colouring, is to leave a little patch of white on the highlight. Even if you're using your highlight shade, right in the middle of that highlight shade, it's important to leave a patch of white, just white page. Sometimes I forget to do this and I usually really regret it, because if you leave the patch of white, it makes your colours look so much brighter than if you completely colour it in. If your highlight shade is so close to white, it's okay, but you'll still notice a big difference if you can leave that white patch there. Have you ever noticed when you're colouring, like when it first starts and you're looking at it and it's like, wow, this is going really cool, the colours look so nice and bright, and then as you're colouring more and more, you'll notice they're not looking quite as bright, and it's because you're covering up the whole page with colour and you're not leaving any white. It's the same with a background. I always like to do the background first, because then I know how much white to leave in the rest of my picture. If I go and do the whole picture, I've coloured it with a white background the whole time and it's looking beautiful, and then I put the background in and it's dark, or it doesn't necessarily have to be dark, it could just be a lighter shade, but it takes that white away and you lose the crispness that the contrast it helps provide. Sorry, I'll try not to so much throughout this video, but right, okay, let's fast forward a bit through this video so you've got a bit more of something interesting to watch. Okay, so now I've talked about how important it is to leave the white in your picture. I'll talk about using dark or black in your picture. It's just as important to help create those shadows and dimension. It also helps with creating contrast. Sometimes when pictures look flat and boring and not very bright, it's because they haven't added enough black or a really dark colour in there to create the contrast. So yeah, it's balancing out, leaving the white and adding the black, or in this case I have used black, but the purple that I'm using right now is also adding as a strong contrast colour. Okay, so another tip that relates to contrast is making sure you put light right next to dark, especially if it's a different object in the picture. So as you can see here, I'm creating a shadow on her butt, but I'm leaving a really nice strip of white, which I think I end up colouring in the fluoro pink. But leaving that there, it makes a really nice line to contrast against that fin that's just below my hand there. And then also when I colour in the tail, I make sure the tail is quite dark in that area, and that just helps push the body of the mermaid forward and the tail back, which helps create that dimension and contrast. So yeah, right now I'm doing the pink, but it's little things like that, just leaving a little line there to add that second colour into. It just takes practice, and the more you practice doing that, the more you'll remember to leave a line. Like, I don't do that every single time I colour, but when I'm wanting to create what I would call a masterpiece and spend hours on, I really try and remember those little tricks to just help create that contrast and dimension. Okay, so remember, if you want to see this whole mermaid coloured, I have got a time-lapse video of it, and if it's too fast for you, there are some buttons on YouTube where you can actually slow the video down, or you can pause it at points if there's any bits you want to take a closer look at. Okay, so once I'd finished the tail and everything, this is how it ended up looking, and you can see there's a nice contrast between the pink and the purple, and the lightness left on parts of the fin. I probably should have also left a little bit of light on the mermaid's what I'm going to call legs, but I think you know what I mean. So after that, I needed to pick what colours I was going to use for the rest of it, and I needed to create a really nice balance, and I had no idea how I was going to do that. So the photo I took, I ended up having a little play around on my phone. There's like a app called Edit Picture or something, and I just had a little scribble with the colours that I was thinking of and came up with this, and I thought, well, that creates really nice balance to the picture, and that's what I created. Sometimes the more colours you add, they take away from the beautiful colours that you've already got. So if you're working with some nice colours, look at your picture and think, where else can I use those? So as you can see, I've put the pinks from the mermaid's tail into those fish that are far enough away that it's not confusing, but they're still there creating balance. So every colour that I've used in this picture, I've repeated it somewhere else, and so the shell and those fish, they're the same colours, the mermaid's body and the jellyfish, they're the same colours. Also those colours blend into the hair, and the colour palette I've used, it's all they're quite harmonious colours, like the pink and the purple and the blues, they're all next to each other on the colour wheel, and then the yellowy orange of the shell and the fish, they're contrasting, so it helps stand out. The thing that I had a little bit of trouble with was this part right here where I'm colouring the turtle in green. I was thinking, oh, that's adding a whole nother level, like a whole nother colour in, and it didn't quite sit nicely with me, but the fact that I've used this really yellowy green, I feel like it works with the yellow of the fish, and then I ended up adding the same greeny colours into those bubbles, which that was another thing that I sort of struggled with. Do I leave them white? Do I colour them? Is it too much white? That's the other thing, you don't want to leave too much white that it looks like you haven't coloured your picture. So yeah, I ended up mixing all the colours into those bubbles, which you'll see in a minute. So you may have noticed, if you've watched the time lapse already, that I ended up using a white pen to sort of white out some of the picture at the end. I really struggled with how this picture was drawn. I feel like it would have been a much stronger picture if they had have done it in a circle. So finished the picture at the bottom in a circular shape and then put a bit more effort into that here, so it actually was more definable of what's here, what's bubble. It's quite a confusing picture to actually colour in, and I think it would have been so much stronger if it had have just been a circle. Okay, so I think I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Actually, the other thing was, you would have seen in the time-lapse video, at the end I went with my black pencil and just went around the edges. With Prismacolor they can leave like a waxy film over the black lines, and I feel it takes away from the crispness, so at the end I just like to go in and just add some black lines here and there just to help with like that contrast, and it makes it so much sharper and a bit more finished. So let me know what you think about the picture. Do you think it should have been finished in a circle? Like, it just lends itself to being a circle, I feel. And like you can see here in the here, like it could have been so much more powerful if it had have just finished with these sort of tendrils, where it kind of got confused. Like on this side it did the bubbles, like what I was talking about. You can see how I've mixed all the colours that sort of were the like blended together nicely through there. And the other thing I just wanted to talk about was I could have ended up maybe doing a navy blue background, because there's so much white bubbles. I feel like it could have ended up looking quite good with a navy blue background as well, but I like my pictures to look really bright and like pow kind of looking, so I just left it white, and it wouldn't have gone over the white out that I've put at the end down here, which I was tempted to do at the top as well and make it a circle, but I just feel like it may have ended up looking a bit of a mess. Yeah, so hopefully I've said everything that I planned on saying. If you've got any questions, make sure to just leave them in the comments section. If you think I'm wrong on anything, just remember art is an opinion, and this is all my opinion. This is how I like to colour. It may change in the future, but for now I like to use 3 colours when I'm colouring in each thing, which you can see in each part of this I've used 3 colours. So the tail I've used a light pink, fluoro pink, and then a purple. And the blue of the skin I've used a really pale blue, a dark blue, and then I also used a grey blue. That's another thing that normally I wouldn't do when I'm creating a bright picture. I'd sort of stay away from any colours that have a grey or a brown in them, but I felt like it just sort of was so subtle, it looked quite nice up against the bright yellow of the shell. And then yeah, in the hair I've used a dark purple, a medium purple, and a bright purple, but then I've also used this really aqua colour just for a highlight and just to help harmonise the picture. You'll see, because I've got it in here, I've got it here, I've got the fish, and then I've got it also through the hair. So it really balances the whole picture out nicely. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this video hasn't been too long, and hopefully I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about. If there's anything you want me to talk about in the future, just leave it in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye!